Hey guys, K2's Retro Workshop. Today we're working on the Color Classic again. I am working on the Tektronix, but it's a bit finicky about stuff. I've noticed that it works perfectly fine when it's on house power, but it doesn't when it's on inverter power, which is what my shed mostly runs on. I try to run this place off-grid as much as I can, and sometimes the solar doesn't keep up, weather or whatever, but I need to look at the power supply on this because it doesn't like the 110 volts that the inverter puts out. Anyway, that's taken a while. We're working on the Color Classic today. This Color Classic, we've seen it before. We've got VGA mod on here. I finally fixed the floppy drive, which will be important for today. And our logic board is heavy and full of stuff. Got a Overclock installed here, battery replacement. I've got 32 megs of RAM. I believe it's 70 nanosecond VRAM. Yeah. And we've got the full 040 or the fat 040 installed on here with the PowerPC upgrade. This works really well, and it has been a pleasure to use this system. But just about a month ago, the 68K MLA forums, a user posted an extension that allows you to overclock 68040 logic boards without doing the Overclock mod. This gives us a couple of benefits over Overclock. One, you get to leave the board stock. Two, you don't have to order a Overclock, which is $50, and you have to wait for it to come from Japan. So, yeah. On top of that, it doesn't just speed the board up. It reprograms the PLL, but also adds wait states. So our VRAM doesn't have to be super speed and some other stuff like that. The communications problems we wind up with when you go over 38 megahertz for a 68040 system, that stuff stops being a problem too. So we might be able to take this system to 40 megahertz or faster and potentially get our upgrade card running from 66 megahertz up to 80, maybe 90. We'll see where it lands. If it turns out that I can overclock this system and the PowerPC card can't keep up, I may or may not have a 120 megahertz model that may or may not be moved over to this to get us our extra speed. I mean, we can't leave it on the table, right? So let me get this stuff moved over to a clean logic board that isn't modded but has been recapped as of about 10 minutes ago. And we'll fire this guy up, move the extension over, and see what we get. Okay, so we have our SneakerNet floppy right here. Okay, got my SneakerNet floppy right here. Let's get that in there. And we're going to install this software. Now, to get the software on this disk, I booted up my iMac G3, took my modern PC, downloaded the bin file, put it on the iMac, extracted it to this self-extracting file here, and then put it on a floppy disk. And to install it, I doubt you can hear that floppy drive running, but I do like how these Mac floppies sound. Okay, 475 overclock, continue. Continue, because nobody ever reads that stuff, right? Install. And that's it. Very complicated install. So, we're going to do this. Almost. Now I have this booted in 68K mode because I want to see what the 68040 will do first. So, we've gone ahead and done this install. Let's eject the disk. and we'll restart. And we'll be right back. We can see the installation right here. Has our soft overclock extension here. It says off right now. That should show us a speed when we have it set to at least one of the defaults. And that'll be nice for knowing how we're set up and if we run into any issues, where those might be coming from. Well, we'll just wait for it to boot up, I suppose. There's a lot going on in this machine. Almost there. And disk access and stuff is actually faster in 68K mode, so it does actually boot up faster with the 040 than it does when we switch over to the PowerPC upgrade. That's one of the things I've noticed over the last 6 months or so using this machine, that while the processor is much faster on the 040 side, the system as a whole isn't necessarily. So we're going to go down to control panel. Way down here for all the stuff I have installed, we have the soft OC setup. Opens here. So you have the disable extension, which shows you the off icon when it's there. Let's go ahead and hit default on this motherboard is 33 megahertz. So let's go ahead and hit 40 megahertz. Set it. And then let's restart it and see what we get. I hope this is easy to read. It looks like it's easy enough to read on my preview over here. Let's see. I was now with the Spicy O'Clock. Oh, it says 40 megahertz. And it's not locked up. So that's a great sign. We're not getting artifacting on the screen. With the Spicy O'Clock, 36 megahertz was about the fastest stable I had. I could get up to 38 megahertz, but I started seeing glitches on the screen and it would freeze randomly. I'm assuming from some sort of timing being off. 40 megahertz was not possible. There was no way I could get this thing to run at 40 megahertz before. So, if this is actually setting to this. Now, I did see in the thread that there were a motherboard or two out there that people had trouble getting to set to the new speed, but this should be usable for anything from, Quadra 700 to a Mystic Color Classic. And isn't it very, I don't want to say nostalgic, because this isn't necessarily something I care for, but it's very period correct to have to wait a while for icons to fill in and stuff like that while the machine's booting. It's kind of funny to experience that. Now, to make sure we're at our faster speed, let's go ahead and run a quick benchmark. Mac bench. Because on here I have saved the stock and overclocked speed benchmarks from a previous video that we did, and we can easily compare those. So let's go and do a processor test real quick, and we'll see what it cranks out. Now, if it is just as simple as installing this extension, rebooting the machine, set it, and rebooting it again, we should be able to see a decent performance increase here. Going from 33 to 40 megahertz, I would expect somewhere around maybe 20% or more, potentially. I would have to get the calculator out to actually know what speed we'd be looking at, but it hasn't locked up during this test either, so that's good. Sometimes these things will run just fine until they get a little warm and they start running a benchmark, and then they fail. So This is a 43%, but we're comparing it to that. So let's remove from graph the Power Macintosh, and let's open our, let's just do the Mystic at first. Well, there we go. 82% and 100%. So at stock 33 megahertz, we have 82%, and we're up to 100 now. So let's open the overclock one. Yeah, 91%. So it works. It's literally that simple. Install the extension, reboot, set it to 40 megahertz, and go. Now, there are custom settings there if 40 megahertz doesn't work for you, and we might be able to eke more out of this system, but I'm curious now what we have for the PowerPC side of things. Because on the PowerPC side, it doubles the clock again. So we could potentially be going from 66 megahertz on the PowerPC card to 80 megahertz on the PowerPC card, which might make something like Diablo run a little better. So let's go to our 601 processor upgrade, turn it on, and restart. Let's see what we get. That boot up chime is so much quieter than the other. Now, if this works, that's going to be incredible. Absolutely incredible. Come on. Starting up. Oh. Froze. All right. That's not a great sign, but it's not totally like crazy. So if this happens and you need to get past it, what you do is you turn the machine on and you hold shift to disable extensions. And when you do that, it will not do the speed change because it's an extension. So you don't brick your install or anything like that if you mess it up. So we have extensions disabled, and that should give us a nice boot up. And then we'll see if we can adjust it. I'll show you the custom settings real quick. The custom settings allow you to set any speed you want. So instead of 33 megahertz, let's try 35 megahertz and see what it does there after it starts up. But it's much faster without extensions, so. Yes, I know the clock's not set. Okay. So, control panels, which isn't quite as easy to get to because, oh nice, we're at the bottom already. Alright, so go to our setup here, and I'll show you what I mean by the custom. And there's an advanced setup too, but I have not looked into it enough to know what to do on that. So we can come here to custom. And this gives a thing about advanced users crashing because of whatever. So I'm going to set this to 35 megahertz. Let's go for a 2 megahertz increase and see if that works. So you hit calc, and then you hit set, and it will set these equation. It will set this into the calculated equation for the extension to set. And after that, we can then hit restart. So weird hearing that startup chime on a Color Classic. But this machine's been great. I ran this thing at VCF for 3 days. Just didn't care. It ran fine, constantly. No issues whatsoever. It was great. One of the benefits of fully recapping a machine and replacing the refa caps and everything, I suppose. Alright, we're starting up. We're good. Oh, it locked up. Okay, let me look into this a bit, and I'll get back. Well, we tried. It looks like, no matter how much testing I've done on this machine, I cannot get a PowerPC upgraded version of this to work. It doesn't like it when you reassign the bus clock. It locks up every single time. And so as long as you are running just a 68040, this looks like a great option for overclocking the system. And that's something to keep in mind. If you do have one of these, PowerPC upgrades like this guy has, you're not going to be able to overclock that. If you're running the PowerPC card, you're going to have to run it at 66 megahertz, which is a drawback. And kind of makes me not want to get rid of this, but I don't know. There's some other cool stuff I'd like for the channel and things like that, so I'm going to probably end up trying to move that anyway, but that's the way she goes. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave it below, and have a great day.